What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Straight wall hunting cartridge testing continued. Today we're on the 4570, the platform CVA Scout V2. They have the regular Scouts and then they have the V2 takedowns. The takedowns have this button right here that you can open up, get the handguard off, and flip the barrel right off. And they also come with a compensated or braked barrel. For those of you that haven't seen the preview or introduction video to the series, I would definitely check that out. That explains everything. But the real quick of it is we're going to be testing a whole bunch of straight wall hunting cartridges, everything from 400 Legend all the way up to 500 Bushwhacker, maybe 350 Legend too, 360 Buckhammer, the whole spread of them, everything that you would usually see for straight wall hunting cartridges in straight wall hunting states. We'll be using factory loadings, we'll be using hand loadings, we'll be using all sorts of different rifles. We will keep the scopes consistent and we'll keep the protocol consistent, but we're definitely going to be checking out each individual cartridge and comparing them to each other. We just did a video with 444 Marlin in the exact same setup. Now it's time to do the 4570, and next will be the 450 Bushmaster. Today's ammo that we're going to be using to do some sighting in, zeroing, and just checking out our grouping in general will be the Winchester Super X deer and big game. That is a jacketed hollow point 300 grain projectile moving at an advertised muzzle velocity of 1,880 feet per second. This is kind of a middle ground 4570 cartridge. There are a lot of different power levels to 4570 depending on what type of firearm you're going to be shooting it out of. Trust me, we're going to go to the super hot stuff, but for now we're just going to stick to your average 4570 300 grain load. And we are going for kind of a budget setup here, so we have a very affordable rifle and a very affordable scope on top of it. This is a SIG Buckmaster 3 to 12 power by 44 millimeter scope. This is a very affordable scope. The Buckmaster rings are very affordable, but SIG is known for very good quality optics, in my opinion, at least most of them that I've ever tried. And if anything else, they have a good lifetime warranty, but I've never had to use it with SIG. And for hunting with straight wall cartridges, that's basically all you need. 3 to 12 power will get you there. You can get more zoom if you want to, but you really don't need it because we're generally hunting within 200 yards. Most of the shots that I ever take at deer are between 20 and 100 yards. The max out would be about 150 yards. So we already have a rough zero at 20 yards on the steel. We're going to go ahead and send 3 rounds downrange at 100 yards. Just like we did with the 444 Marlin, we're going to get those velocity numbers, but we're also going to group here, see where we end up, and then we'll make a final adjustment, and hopefully we'll get to the center. But we just want to see how this ammunition behaves through this firearm with this optic with me as a shooter at 100 yards. All right, I got this scope maxed out all the way to 12 power. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to try to get a good 3-shot group. We're going to go through that chronograph right there in front of us. That is at about 20 feet in front. Like I said, the target is 100 yards exactly away. And on the chronograph, I see 1928, and I cannot see my impact point right now. Actually, I do. It's very high on that target right above, so we got to do some changing here. But let me go ahead and take another shot. We'll actually group it right where it's at up there for now. 1928. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I just want to show you the observation I made that there is quite a bit of unburnt powder in that barrel. That just didn't feel like a good shot to me. It went a little bit high. We're, of course, going to go ahead and do the other shots, and we're going to see where they all group out at. But this just doesn't feel like super strong 4570 whatsoever. Maybe it's because we're not getting a complete burn. I'm not sure. We do have the velocity up there at 1928. It just felt weird and sounded weird, but oh well, that could just be me. And that one impacted, you probably see it before I do, it impacted right there on that red line of the target above the one I'm aiming at. I'm aiming at the green, and it's hitting the target above. But they're pretty close together. Let's go ahead and take the third. And these guns have an extractor, not an ejector, so you do have to pull them out. And let me look at that barrel real quick. Yep, there's still pretty good amount of funk and junk in there. And we have a velocity of 1956. So we do have velocity there. It feels weird. I just can't explain it. It does feel like a weird cartridge to shoot out of that rifle, at least. Now, for anybody wondering, the trigger on these guns specifically, they're nothing super special or fancy. They're not super light, but they're nice. It's just a nice clean break. You start to apply some pressure and it just happens. There's no wall to climb over. There's no sponginess or anything like that. There's no real take up. It just breaks. I'm going to take one more shot because that one might have been just a little touch premature. 1960 is the velocity, but we're going to go ahead and throw that shot out of the group. So like I always tell you, no BS here on the Turkey's Opinion. I'll admit when I screwed up, so that was not my best shot. I was not prepared for the gun to go off when I pulled the trigger. So let me try to do a little bit better this time. That one was a little bit better, and it definitely proved to be better for the grouping. I'm glad that we realized that I screwed up on that last shot. As far as recoil, like I said, this doesn't feel like full house 4570, at least not out of this gun. Maybe the gun's just handling it well. Maybe that compensator or brake, whatever you want to call that. It's doing pretty good on this rifle, possibly helping that out. But I would say that this is definitely shootable. People say the 4570 is a monster of a cartridge, at least not in this loading. I'm sure this will definitely, with the foot-pounds that you see down there, you're going to see it do some definite damage on deer, but I think a lot of people can shoot this rifle specifically. And that's consistently been over what the box states. So good deal that they're not underloading it. Thank you for that, Winchester. So not a bad group at all. We have to take these three. We are throwing this one out. This is my bad shooting. The trigger broke before I had a total solid sights picture or set up on my target properly. I was aiming down here, so we have quite a bit of adjustment to make from up here. Our group size itself, I'm going to call it at 1.61. So not too bad out of that setup, in my opinion. That's definitely deerable right there. Keep in mind that is just that specific ammunition through that specific gun with that optic and me as the shooter. So camera guy and I have to make an adjustment to try to get down here. All right, I think we've made the proper click adjustments. Let's see if we did. If not, camera guy is younger and smarter. I'm going to blame it on his math. Which the math isn't too hard, a quarter MOA at 100 yards, but still, we got to blame somebody other than me if it goes wrong. All right, I'm going to take my best shot here because we should be in that orange according to the clicks. The orange on the bottom target. I felt pretty confident about that shot. However, it did go pretty far left as far as what I wanted it to do. Let me take one more shot for confirmation because I do want to get a good zero on this. Chronograph says 1934. All right, maybe that shot was just a little bit wild on my part, or maybe that was just a misadjustment on the scope, but we should find out pretty much right now. And yeah, that doesn't seem to be coinciding with the clicks that we made on the scope. So let's go take a look at velocity. Let's look at the paper, and then let's make another adjustment. And yeah, let's just keep burning through 4570 expensive ammo. 1929 velocity. All right, those shots are separated by roughly 2 inches. However, they are roughly 2 inches too far to the left, which makes no sense because we did not make that many click adjustments. So we're going to have to meet in the middle somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to have to make a decision if we do all the clicks or not, but we're going to get here to the center one way or another. All right, nothing is moving on this scope. We have witness marks, so we know that. And as far as level, the scope is level. So I don't know what's going on. We have made the proper click adjustments as according to the quarter MOA values that each click represents. We'll either be on target, or I'm not a good shooter, or the scope is not doing its proper adjustments. All right, let's see what happens. I can't see where it landed right now, so that might be a good thing. It might be in the black. You probably see it before I do. Let's check out velocity. 1950, that seems like a good rounded number. All right, so here's where we landed, and I will take that. I don't know what happened with the previous adjustment, but I'll take it where it's at right now. That would fit into group size, in my opinion. I'll leave that 0 for that ammunition. Keep in mind, we're going to be shooting all kinds of ammunitions, and it's going to change the 0 no matter what we do. Now let's take one confirmation shot on steel at 20 yards or 20 feet, and let's see how that changes things when we get a lot closer, because where I hunt, like I said, the deer can be up close or they can be about 100, 150 yards away, maybe at the absolute most, but usually between 20 and 100 yards. So at 20 feet, I'm going to aim dead center on this steel. With the 444 Marlin, once we zeroed out at 100, we were still dead zeroed at 20 feet. So hopefully that comes somewhat true to the 45-7A. I really highly doubt it, though. So final shot on steel. I'm going to turn the zooms down all the way. Well, I'll go halfway. I'll go to 6 power. That should be pretty good. And let's see what we can do to the steel. Dead center of that. I'm not moving at all. When I break this trigger, it will be in the center of that red. And the impact was very acceptable. I'll take that. That's just a hair low from where I was aiming. Let's go take a look. All right, I will say that that's a totally acceptable zero from 20 yards to 100 yards. I will take that every day. That is deer acceptable for sure. As far as feeling the crater left by the 4570 on steel, I know that's a weird thing to measure things by, but there is the ever so slightest crater. However, when we did the 444 Marlin, we made a deeper crater. So the speed of the 444 Marlin, slightly smaller projectile, did a little bit more damage on the steel. But like I said, that's a mild 4570. We can really crank it up with projectile, powder, and power. So 8 empty pieces of brass to get a gun zeroed properly, some people would be so upset with me. But I do have 8 pieces of brass that I can reload now, so that's a plus. And as far as this rifle with this ammo today, I'm going to go ahead and call it a winner. You can definitely harvest a deer with this setup, no problem. Once you got it figured out, it's not too bad at all as far as, like I said, up close, far away. Recoil is not bad, and it's definitely going to put a deer down. It's got more than enough power. So many things you can adjust with, play with, ammos you can try, and we're definitely going to try some different ammos. Like I said, we're going to get to some pretty hot stuff. I have Underwood Plus P 4570 that we're going to be trying, and some of those solid coppers in Plus P. That's going to be really interesting. Gel tests and other fun stuff coming up, so you want to make sure you're subscribed if this is an interesting topic for you. We're going to keep the videos honest and informative, but simple. Let me know in the comments what you think about 4570 or any of these other straight walls we're going to be taking a look at. Let me know if you've ever used this ammunition specifically on a deer and how it did. Hope you enjoy these type of videos. Hope to see you for the rest of this series and our videos in general. We do a whole bunch of stuff, not just rifle. We do handgun, shotgun. We do gel testing. We do reviews, all sorts of stuff. We have live chats on Wednesday nights. Come say hi. Thank you for watching this video. And until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting. Definitely straight wall hunting cartridges.